Happy autumnal equinox, everyone, because apparently autumnal is the verb form of autumn. What is an autumnal equinox? Well, it's the first day of autumn. Although not really, because in my opinion, it's only fall when the leaves start falling. And right now, the leaves aren't falling, so it's just cooler summer. I'm not even sure how one would decide when one season starts and the other ends. It's not like there's anything telling you right off the bat. If I were the one in charge of deciding when seasons would start, then I would go off smell, because it's pretty easy to smell winter. Or maybe that's just because I'm a squirrel. Anyways, it's almost October, and in my opinion, October is one of my favorite months, because Halloween, obviously. So come October 1st, you should be expecting a lot of spooky themed rants. Another neat thing about autumn is the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting longer, which is good if you're nocturnal, and not so good if you aren't. I guess autumn is particularly tough on solar panels. If there are any solar panels watching this, my condolences. On the topic of solar panels, it seems that whenever they're in cartoons, and then suddenly the lights go out or it becomes nighttime, then they suddenly stop working. Did no one think of attaching batteries to the solar panels so they can, store electricity like they're supposed to? Judging off that logic, if you drove over to your friend's house in a solar powered car, and then it turned nighttime, well, I guess you're spending the night at your friend's house because now your car won't work. So I guess we learned a valuable lesson today. Oh, wait, no, we didn't. This has been Billy Nature's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. Huh, well, this is surprising. What happened to all the color?
It is I, Tenerbot.
Yep, of course, it's always Tenderbot. So, what gave you the idea of flipping all the colors? And what exactly do you expect to accomplish from this?
1. I wanted you to see the world through my eyes. 2. I knew you wouldn't like it, so I did it anyway.
So this is just the way you normally see things? Not saying I don't like it, but I don't like it. Change it back.
Why don't you like it? I thought squirrels liked brown.
While I do like the color brown, brown is not for the sky. The sky is supposed to be blue, and you too.
Wait. I'm blue? Why haven't you told me this before?
Well, I didn't know you saw flip-flop colors.
And what about your friend the raccoon?
Oh, no, she's gray either way. Although I guess it's now hard to tell because half the time you show up, you always shove her down.
Hey, what can I say? I don't know my own strength.
Uh-huh. Ever heard of a game called 52 Card Pickup?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, time for a new variation of the game. One robot pickup. This has been Billy Nature's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed.
No, I did not enjoy that. In fact, I found it rather painful.
Today is the last day of September, which means tomorrow is the first day of October. The last 3 months of the year seem to have an obsession with gourds. Pumpkins, to be more specific. As soon as October hits, every food company and restaurant just wants to serve pumpkin-flavored things. These companies tend to focus on a flavor called pumpkin spice, which is an amalgamate of many other spices which are not pumpkin, including cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. Allspice is a very strange name for just one spice. Why are we using indefinite pronouns in our ingredient labels? Anyway, obviously, I don't have anything against the pumpkin spice flavor. After all, nutmeg is literally my middle name. My main topic here is, how was pumpkin discovered as something that's good to eat? For one, they are bright orange, which, naturally proved, bright colors are not safe to eat, because most bright things are poisonous. Pumpkins obviously aren't poisonous, but if I were the first person to eat a pumpkin, I'd be a little cautious. Secondly, pumpkins aren't really as convenient to eat as other fruit or vegetables, like apples. You can't just pick up a pumpkin and take a bite out of it. It's too big and fat. You'd have to carry around an entire forklift if you wanted to eat a pumpkin on the go. But that's why with pumpkins, it's what's on the inside that counts. And what is on the inside is seeds, lots of seeds. These seeds are the main thing that people eat when they eat pumpkins, which is further reason why you shouldn't just bite into a pumpkin. Because taking small things out of big things, putting them in hot things, and then consuming said small things is common practice. We should all thank pumpkins for existing and bringing the autumn feeling. And even if some people think that pumpkin-flavored things are trendy and overused, and I get that I'm supposed to be against the trendy things, but when they taste this good, how can I resist? This has been Billy Nature's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. Last time I talked about pumpkins and how to eat them, but after consuming the interior, you are now left with an orange husk, and you don't know what to do with it. So what do you do with it? Compost it? Well, sometimes, but let's get festive. It is Halloween in 28 days after all, although you can't spend those 28 days just eating the insides of pumpkins, because eventually they'll rot. So I suggest waiting a few days until Halloween to start this activity. But anyway, jack-o'-lantern carving. Why are they called jack-o'-lanterns? Well, I assume that there was this guy called Jack, and everyone looked at him and said, huh, vegetable. Anyways, a jack-o'-lantern is what they call it when you take a knife and cut holes in a pumpkin to make a face or some other art. And I'm the kind of person who appreciates art. But pumpkin carving isn't just reserved for professionals. Plenty of normal people who, and I don't mean to be rude, aren't artists, carve pumpkins. Like me. I haven't carved a pumpkin this year because I'm still waiting for the perfect opportune time so that on Halloween night, the pumpkin won't be too squishy and won't be too hard. Because if a pumpkin is too squishy, then it won't look good. And if a pumpkin is too durable, then someone's just going to drop kick it down the street. It's happened before, trust me. But if the pumpkin is just the right squishiness, then if someone tries to kick it, then it'll go all over their shoe, making pumpkins one of the few vegetables that can enforce the law. Fruits can also enforce the law, like coconuts. If a coconut falls on the head of a criminal, then I'm pretty sure that criminal won't be doing much crime. Although if a coconut falls on the head of an innocent person, then that would be pretty bad. So, coconuts are pretty neutral when it comes to good and evil. Some people who carve pumpkins use those dollar store pumpkin carving kits that are made of cheap plastic that hardly even work. But I'm a more traditional kind of guy, so in the spirit of Halloween, right now, I will be carving a pumpkin using this big knife. Yeah, see, if you're a professional pumpkin carver like me, then it's pretty easy to just do whatever design you... Ah! Ow! My hand. What a preventable accident. Guess I'm not so good at carving pumpkins after all. Anyway, this has been Billy Nutter's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. I certainly didn't. Hi, welcome back to the show. Got another spooky topic for today. No other celestial object is as horrifying as the moon. Well, actually the sun, and more specifically, the people from the sun, are pretty rad too. And black holes. And the Death Star. But let's just pretend that the moon is scary for now. I mean, the moon is what causes werewolves to exist. Although for some reason only on a full moon cycle. So, not on a waxing gibbous or a waning moon. No, it has to be specifically a full moon. And it also doesn't work if there's a cloud covering the moon. And I don't mean completely covering the moon, I mean partially covering the moon. So if half of the moon is exposed and the other half is behind a cloud, it won't work in most cases. So, is that really any different than a half moon? What are the rules here? So how does this werewolf thing work? Does the person absorb the light from the moon that activates their werewolf powers? If the moonlight absorbing into the skin is what causes werewolves to become werewolves, then someone needs to invent sunscreen for the moon, which would actually just be normal sunscreen because the moon is reflecting light from the sun. So obviously whoever came up with the werewolf myth didn't know how the moon works, which makes sense because it was probably thought up a long time ago when people weren't as educated as they are today. But if it happens to be a full moon and you are attacked by a werewolf, there is one surefire way to defeat any werewolf that wants to eat your face. In most werewolf myths, the only way to defeat a werewolf is with a silver bullet. So what the werewolf myths are trying to say is, if you shoot something in the face with a gun, then it dies. Not to be picky or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's most things' weaknesses. But of course, obviously the bullet has to be silver, which I think is because silver and the moon are connected somehow. And it doesn't even have to be a bullet. It can be any silver object. So why waste all that money on a gun and silver bullets when you could just use a butter knife? Or even better, chase the werewolf into a history museum, find a suit of armor, take one of the gauntlets, put it on, and just slap the werewolf right in the face. I almost feel bad for the werewolves. They're supposed to be killing machines, but they can be stopped by an antique spork. This has been Billy Nutter's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. Oh hi, it's raining today, as you can see by the rain. I myself enjoy the rain. I like the feel of it. I also don't mind getting wet, which is a normal thing for most animals. Although, some don't like getting wet. Some use umbrellas or raincoats to prevent getting wet. It's a well-known fact that running in the rain gets you more wet than if you stand still. However, the people who believe this are missing one crucial fact. If you're running in the rain, then you're probably running to a location. Possibly to a dry location. Granting you negative wetness, meaning that the person standing in the rain is the one who's getting more wet, as they're just not doing anything. Another thing some people say is that lightning never strikes twice, which is outright a lie. I've been struck by lightning probably 3 times. Granted, it wasn't natural lightning, but it was still lightning. Lightning that did strike the same place, myself, twice. And apparently, a bolt of lightning is way hotter than the surface of the sun, which is not something I entirely believe. I mean, it's not possible to get within a few miles of the sun because you'd be evaporated instantly. So, if a bolt of lightning is supposed to be the same heat as the surface of the sun, or more than, then how come whatever it hits doesn't just be vaporized, as well as everything in a mile's radius? Well, to give you a non-scientific answer, because then the world would probably be destroyed by now, because there's like 100 lightning strikes every second, and if each one took out a mile of land, then we'd have like 2 minutes to live. On the topic of hot things, if you took the hottest thing ever, and you made it way hotter, and you dropped it on the floor, then would it keep burning through the floor, all the way through to the center of the earth, and then just become a part of the core of the earth? I think not, because eventually, the further down you go, the more pressure you have to apply to break through the floor. So, eventually, the hot thing would not have enough strength to push through. I should probably get back to things that I actually know what I'm talking about. A warm thing that doesn't cause collateral damage are clothes. Clothes were made to keep people warm. Humans warm. Animals don't need clothes. Which is entirely a lie. Crabs use clothes. Shells, which you could kind of classify as clothes. Plus, I've worn clothes before, so myth busted. This has been Billy Netro's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. A few months ago, I made a rant about how much I hate acronyms, and I've felt bad about it ever since because there are some acronyms I really like. For example, NASA, which stands for the National something, something, something. NASA is a cool acronym because NAS kind of sounds like the word mass, and space is massive, so that makes sense. And the ah part at the end is kind of like, ah, look how cool space is.
Hey Billy, how's it going? I heard you talking about space, and I just had to intervene because I know a lot about space. I am from the sun, after all, which is a place in space.
You being from a place in space doesn't necessarily contribute to the fact that you know a lot about space. I live on Earth, which is a planet in space, but I don't know everything about space. And if everyone on Earth did know everything about space, then there wouldn't even be a point for NASA.
Obviously, I don't know everything about space, but I do know a lot about space. For example, did you know that 9 out of 10 people who study space are total nerds? That's why I don't study things. I was born with this knowledge.
Well, obviously, all that space knowledge you have doesn't cover personal space, as evidenced by the fact that you invade everyone's as soon as you show up.
Well, people from the sun don't have the same manners as you do. And this is way more polite than crushing her. So, this has been Billy Netro's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed.
What? Hey, you aren't allowed to call the end of these. Every second of this month is a second closer to Halloween, and every second after this month is a second closer to Christmas, because no one really cares about the Thanksgiving countdown. Sometimes I don't even remember that November exists. Anyway, people have lots of different opinions on Halloween. What are those opinions? I don't know. However, one such opinion is that Halloween is only so that companies can sell more stuff, which is a thing people say to sound smart, or a thing people say when they regret buying too many Halloween decorations, or a thing smart people say when they don't buy any Halloween decorations. The point is, lots of people think this, and that got me thinking about companies. And thinking about companies makes me think about their logos. So today I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions on some popular logos. Jelly, you up for some graphics? Our first logo for a place that probably does sell Halloween stuff, I don't know, I haven't been there in a while, Target. Now, I think Target's logo is pretty good. It's a Target, and that's the name of the store. Pretty creative. However, since the logo is a Target, that makes the store open for vandalism, because they're actually putting a big Target right on the side of their store. How do you expect people to not throw stuff at it? However, that oversight is nullified by those big cement balls outside of some of the stores. Those are fun. Second logo is the Apple logo, which is an apple. But this isn't just your normal apple. This apple's been bitten. Apparently, the reason why the apple has a bite taken out of it is because that's supposed to hint at people that the logo is an apple, which is kind of dumb because the company's called Apple, and come on, what other fruit are you going to get confused with an apple? A pumpkin? No. It certainly doesn't look like grapes or something. Anyway, our next and final logo is... Okay, haha, very funny. I know it's Halloween and tricks and treats and stuff, but I wouldn't even joke about the robot effect anymore. This has been Billy Nacho's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. Happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome to Billy Nacho's Rant Halloween special. What's so special about it? Well, apart from being longer, you'll find out later. By now, you've probably noticed that we are not in the park tonight. That's because it's difficult to record things in a public space. That's because it's very easy to be interrupted by robots, or space dogs. It happens way more often than you'd think. Also, unfortunately, Halloween night happens to be one of the nights with the most car accidents that happen. And that's why it's important to wear some sort of light while trick-or-treating, like a glow stick or reflective tape or something, just so that people driving cars can see you. Yeah, sort of like this. Except, make sure it's a fresh glow stick. But enough with safety stuff. That's not what you came here for. Let's get back to what I was talking about. So instead of recording in the park, right now we are in my house, which is a different house than the last time you saw my house, which actually just got finished being built because last October, my other house, my old one, exploded. I don't know how it exploded, but my current theory involves before-mentioned space dog. But you never got to see the inside of that house, so it's not really noticeable. What is noticeable is our Halloween costumes. It is an unwritten law that on Halloween night, if it's just you and one friend, you have to wear thematically similar costumes. With 2 people, it's easy to come up with things that match. But if you're going with 3, 4, or 5, then it's probably just easier to do whatever you want. Unlike big group costumes, an easy thing to do was to decide tonight's topic, which I shall reveal to you Actually, not now. Not yet. There's still one more thing I have to show you. That's because I just remembered that this house includes one very important feature that will make recording from home far easier. And to show it off, I'm going to have to ask that you step aside off screen for a little bit. Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm not the one who decided that Scratch's aspect ratio should be this small. See, isn't that cool? It has a TV. Now, I know what you're thinking. Plenty of people have TVs. But does yours retract from the ceiling? Yeah, the only thing I'm not happy about is the color scheme. It's probably just colored that way because it's from the same company that made Tenerbot. Like how Power Tools have color schemes that match with who made them. Probably like that. Power Tools is not tonight's topic, though. That would be the easiest thing to make fun of and critique ever. Horror movies. Don't leave, though. I promise to not show anything scary the entire show. To assure that, I will not even be showing any footage from horror movies. Not even a screenshot. There's your guarantee. On with the show. There's also a high chance that you've never seen a horror movie before, if you're watching this. However, you will still be able to follow along, because even if you've never seen one, you probably already know the cliches. The aspects of the movies parodied in every Halloween episode of every show ever? Yeah, those. And just to be beginner-friendly, let's talk about the most parodied horror movie genre of all time. Slasher movies. Now, if you don't know what that means, here, I'll explain it to you. In a slasher movie, there is a killer who goes around and kills people. And there's your plot. You are now a master in the horror genre. Of course, I'm oversimplifying things, but not by much. Now, the reason that these movies are scary is because you don't want the people to be hurt by the killer. But, unfortunately, that doesn't work, because most of the time, the people are really annoying and really, really dumb. So, on behalf of those people in the movies, let's go over some ways to not get yourself killed in a horror movie. So, first scenario. You and a bunch of friends are in a campsite, and there's the villain lurking around, and you know because you've seen him before. If you have a big group of people, one thing you should not do is split up. I don't know why these horror movie protagonists think that they're Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang. Splitting up doesn't actually work. It just makes you all easier targets. But if you do end up being separated, and the killer is chasing you, then that's actually not so bad, because in most horror movies, they never run. The bad guys almost always walk very slowly. So, just jog away from them. That might sound obvious, but horror movie protagonists often find it a better idea to just stand still and scream until the killer catches up to them and kills them. If you do that, it's kind of your fault. That was a very avoidable scenario. Oh, so that's why people don't mount TVs on their ceiling. Come on, Jelly, let's just go outside and forget this happened. It's harder to break things outside. Ah yes, outside, the perfect environment for a squirrel. In fact, it was foolish of us to even think that we could do the entire show inside.
Hey squirrel.
Oh great, there's the foolish.
Good afternoon, Billy and his friend. I was just taking this cat out for a walk.
Ah, I didn't know you had a cat.
I don't. This is just some random cat. A random cat I have been walking for the past 4 hours. I saw it and thought, "Aww, I shall walk you small cat," and so I did.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think your cat just ran directly into that car.
Nay, not a big deal. It's a robot, it can be fixed. Plus I'm pretty sure that cat was the voice actor for the cat voice in the text-to-speech extension. No one uses that one really.
Oh, okay, that's good. By the way, we were talking about horror movies back in my house, but then something happened that definitely wasn't my fault, and now we can't record in my house.
Oh, movies. My uncle played in a movie once, as an extra in Terminator.
I think I was talking about something like how people in horror movies are always doing dumb things, and it wouldn't be that bad in real life. However, now that I'm breathing this outside air, I'm starting to think that maybe they do that on purpose, so that the people watching the movie feel smarter than they actually are, and that they'll spread all the ridiculous things that the characters did onto their friends, who will then want to go see the movie as a sort of advertising campaign, which would be a clever way to spread word, because in the 70s they didn't have stuff like internet or websites.
Yep. That does in fact seem like a thing you would say. I think I'm going to cross the street and go hang with you guys for tonight.
That's it for tonight. Remember to stay safe while trick-or-treating. This has been Billy Mitchell's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed. You're probably wondering why there hasn't been any new episodes except for the Halloween one all of this month. Apparently, it's hardwired into squirrels to hibernate when they go to sleep during the winter. So there's your perfectly good explanation on why there hasn't been a new episode in 15 days. So I guess that means don't eat as much, or never sleep again. Oh man, if I brought that up during Halloween, I could have made a Nightmare on Elm Street joke. Anyway, it's sad that it's the end of October, but hey, at least it's the beginning of November. There are plenty of fun and thematic things to talk about in November, like, gourds, and corn, and, Today I was going to talk about school, but that's a September thing. But hey, I guess November serves as a buffer between two of my favorite months. Because I'm pretty sure if we went from October right to December, I couldn't take it. Overload. So yeah, I'm just recording this episode to say that I'm back. Despite squirreliness and lack of things to talk about deterring me from doing so, I will persevere. This will once again be Billy Nutch's Rant, and you'll enjoy later, I guess. Did you know that the world's fastest lawnmower can go 143 miles an hour? No? Well, now you do. Today's topic is going to be dinosaurs. I heard that random humor is on the rise, so I thought I'd just give it a try. Although today's topic is going to have something to do with dinosaurs. You know how in the movie Jurassic Park, they recreate dinosaurs by using DNA from like fossils and stuff? That's pretty cool, and I'm pretty sure it's an actual thing that actual scientists wish that they could actually do. But they can't, because technology hasn't allowed them to do that yet. However, if actual scientists could do this, then I don't think I'd want them to, because the ecosystem is already pretty balanced, and I don't think having a T-Rex running around would help that balance. DNA are really tiny strands of information that connect together to make a living thing. It's also an acronym that stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Although you're pretty smart, I'm sure you already knew that. I assume they collected these dinosaur DNA samples from dinosaurs that were relatively well preserved, like those that fell into hot tar, thanks to all those clumsy dinosaurs for making science possible. Another way they probably got some DNA was from mosquitoes frozen in amber, which I don't think we really need any more species of mosquitoes, thank you very much. Come to think of it, I don't think reviving any species of dinosaur would be a good idea. Extinction isn't extinct. Things are going extinct all the time. So, if the scientists in the movie, or in this hypothetical future where this is possible, could go collect DNA samples from endangered species, and then make more of those, then that would actually be a better idea. Although, I don't think anyone would want to see the movie Galapagos Giant Tortoise Park. This has been Billy Mitchell's Rant, and I hope you enjoyed.